Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, you could probably see this coming. Article 1, Section 24 of the Washington State Constitution. The right of an individual citizen to bear arms in defense of himself, and I would add herself, or the state shall not be impaired. This fee, this tax to exercise a constitutionally protected right is unconstitutional. There is no amount of money that can be reasonable or justified to be charged to a citizen to exercise a constitutionally protected right. What this amendment does is it sets this tax, this fee, at the proper constitutional and legal amount, which is zero, Madam Speaker. There is no fee that is appropriate to be charged an individual to exercise a constitutionally protected right. Madam Speaker, we hear from time to time on this floor certain fees or taxes described as poll taxes. And often it's a understandable but not technically accurate criticism. In this case, Madam Speaker, this is technically, mechanically equivalent to a poll tax. The very policy point addressed by the underlying bill is questionable, Madam Speaker. It may be an impairment or an infringement on your Article 1, Section 24 right. To charge the individual citizen to implement that questionable policy adds insult, unconstitutional insult, to injury. Madam Speaker, this amendment is essential to make the underlying policy constitutional and legal, and it's the right message to send the people of this state. Constitutional rights cannot be taken by the government and sold back in pieces to individual citizens. Please vote yes on this amendment to make this underlying policy at least somewhat constitutional. Thank you.
Further remarks, the good member for the 19th, Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Really, really bad bill. Please vote no. Madam Speaker, in the great sci-fi movie Brazil by Terry Gilliam, it's a satirical dystopian future movie. An individual is arrested for a free speech, exercising free speech, and whilst being arrested, has to sign financing papers for his own incarceration. Now, this movie is meant to be satirical. It's meant to mock the infringement of individuals' rights. But, Madam Speaker, this proposal inches very gradually to that kind of dystopian future. We have to vote no, Madam Speaker, you and I. Madam Speaker, a thing to be concerned about in this proposal is not only the fact that the cost of exercising your constitutional right to bear a firearm in defense of yourself and the state. And by the way, Madam Speaker, as I always must say, that's an important notion of what public safety is. That by exercising this right unimpaired, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting your neighbors and your community. Madam Speaker, by impairing that right, we are not only restricting your ability to defend yourself, But the part that isn't stated, the negative space in this unconstitutional proposal, is that a criminal isn't going to pay the fee for this background check to start with. The criminal is going to acquire a gun, buy, steal, get a gun in an illegal way that obviously doesn't involve paying an escalating fee to acquire the firearm. And Madam Speaker, think about what we're doing here. We're increasing the cost to you, a law-abiding citizen, to acquire a pistol or other firearm to carry and protect yourself with, making it harder for you to do that, impairing your ability to do that, while the criminal who has no concern for following our laws will acquire his or her firearm without that impairment. Madam Speaker, we need to refocus our public policy. We need to focus on preventing the criminals from getting guns or punishing them appropriately when they use a gun in committing a crime. And we need to stop impairing your ability as a law-abiding citizen to exercise your constitutional right to protect yourself and your home and your kids or grandkids and your neighbors and the whole state. The brilliance of Article 1, Section 24 of our state constitution, which, as you know, I find superior to the Second Amendment protections in the federal Constitution, is it says explicitly, our public policy should not impair your right to bear a firearm because your exercise of your right to bear a firearm protects everyone. Let's redirect our policy and focus on the problem, not penalize law-abiding citizens in impairing their rights. Let's put this bill aside and let's you and I focus on doing things that will actually help public safety and safe neighborhoods and safe communities and the safety and self-defense of all Washingtonians. Please vote no on this bad bill.